ahora, pero hablaré muy rápido en inglés. Okay, I'm going to speak very quickly in English. Can you follow me? Do you understand what I'm saying? You can? Who can understand what I'm saying when I'm speaking these fast? Some of you can? Okay, because some of you speak Spanish that way. You speak muy rápido, and I have trouble hearing. But I understand that you are presidents. Is that right? You are a president of your class? Okay, so, and from this is, you are all in the upper school? Okay. Right, so those of you who are in like 12th grade, raise your hand, the 12th grade. Those two of you in 12th grade. No, three? Three, okay. 11th grade? Raise your hand high. Be proud. Okay, good. And 10th grade? Okay, bien, bien. In 9th grade? Just one? Uno? 9th grade? Okay. Oh, don't be shy. Okay, and 8th grade? Okay, and are there any 7th graders here? Okay, 8th grade and up. Well, it's a pleasure to be with you, and we don't have a long time together, but so I'm just going to give you a little bit of an overview of what's happening in America and in some other places around the world that's similar to what's happening here, and give you a chance to ask some questions, okay? And so at any time that I'm speaking, you can ask a question. Right? You can raise your hand and ask a question, but we'll try to leave time as well. So, first question I would like to ask you is, well, what is the purpose of an education? Why do people need to get educated? What do you think? What are some answers that you hear? Why does a person need education? Oh, if you want to record.
I think a basic education is fundamental in, establishing, our future governments. These are the people that are going to be leading our countries and entire continents even. And so also in world organizations as well. So for them to be educated on specific things that would benefit their people and, also the community around them. Not to mention, everything that their education is based on also is a great factor in what makes a good leader or a good country. And I think that is essential for the well-being of, everyone.
Okay, thank you. So your answer is getting to, the answer to this question, there are actually many good answers to this question because it's like a harmony of things. And education is not just one thing. It's several things kind of wrapped up together. But one objective is what you just described, is to prepare people to serve in the country in which they live, or maybe even in the world, maybe in other places. So a good education has helped to prepare people to serve. Not always to be served, but to give yourself away to serve your brothers and sisters, your family, your community, your country, your church. So that has been a traditional answer to the question, what is education? To help to prepare us to serve. But there's some other good answers to the question. Why else might you want to be educated? What are some other good, what else would you say? What is the purpose of education?
I think it would be a little bit more simple because just to avoid falling into ignorance and kind of stuff, like to know a lot of things would avoid us from believing on wrong things, I guess.
Okay, so we don't want to be left in ignorance. And here's a paradox of learning. If people don't know something, do you think that they believe that they know more or less? And then, let me put it this way. If you have gotten a lot of education, do you start to think more and more that you know a lot? Or do you become more aware of the fact that there's a lot that you don't know? Here's the paradox. The more that you know, the more you become aware of that which you don't know. Right? Like you're learning, you know Spanish and you're learning English, and then you realize, oh, there's Italian, and there's Portuguese, and there's French, and there's Romanian, and there's this one called Romansh, and then there's Russian. And then you learn that, well, Latin is the basis for all of the Romance languages, so maybe I should learn Latin.
Chicos, si alguien desea preguntar en español, que lo pueda hacer.
I'm sorry?
En algún punto, si alguien quiere preguntar en español, puede hacerlo, ¿sí?
They can do that. Okay, so you can speak in Spanish as well, Benny. Okay, so then the more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. And it's actually the people who are ignorant who think they know a lot. Because they don't know what they don't know. So the more you actually know, the more humility you have. Isn't that interesting? Instead of becoming proud, like I know Spanish and I know English. Most people aren't even bilingual, but I know two. That would be wrong, because then you realize, oh, there's many more languages you could know. So you should actually grow in humility. So in the tradition of education that goes back for centuries, education has been aimed not just at helping you to get a good job, although good education will help you to get a good job. It aims higher than that. It aims at helping you to dispel your ignorance, to be educated to serve, and to be formed as a person who is wise and virtuous. These were the two chief aims of educación: virtus y sofía, y elocuencia. That if you could be able to be prudencia, have prudencia or sofía, you would be ready to do any kind of job with excellence. And this word virtus is una palabra Latin. In español es virtu, ¿no? Virtu significa excelencia in todos los vidas, in every aspect of your life. Growing to be excellent at what humans are able to do. Growing to be excellent with words, to use words with clarity and precision and accuracy, to use words to make arguments that are cogent and true, so that you can discern what is true from what is false and be able to make an argument for what is true. And then you learn to love what is true and to want to artes verbales, the arts that help you to master clarity, write with clarity, you can understand what's being written, even in complex books, because you've studied the way words work together, not only in Spanish, but in English, but in other languages. Because if you look at how words speak together and when you have all that, you already studied it. You already studied it. Very good study for it's like you have to travel to another country. And if you travel to another country, you know what you also learn? Learn about your home. One of the things I learned from Belize is about travel. Belize, I learned about here. Very stressed about time, but many things are not normal. Not as stressed about time as another. So traveling to another language, good grammar. So those are the three liberal arts of the language: grammar, logic, and learning. Anybody who is able to speak well, argue well, move people, be persuasive. Argue well, reason well. You can persuade people to change their view, your viewpoint. You can help them to see the truth and then to change their minds. It will be a good leader. In any job, whether you're a plumber, or a professor, or a politician, if you can master language, skill, she said, skill. So these three liberal arts are called liber. Why are they called liber? Why do we call these arts of language? Why do we call them liber? The freedom to be able to do what you want to do. Let's say I want to change his mind about something. Do I have the skills to do that? Can I speak to him? Can I argue with him? Can I reason with him? So can I persuade him to change his mind? If I have that skill, I have freedom. I have a kind of liberty to do things that other people cannot do. It's like, you've seen movies of Harry Potter with it? It's like powers. These are like having magical powers. You can levitate. I can make it disappear. I can change his mind if I have these skills. So that's why they're called liberal, because they give you power, capacity to do things that you otherwise couldn't. Some of you play soccer. Everybody plays soccer. If you want to learn anything like athletic, you want a good coach, and you see your coach do some kind of maneuver, how did he do that? Do you want to have that skill? Do you want to have the freedom, the liberty to do what that good coach can do? Yes, and so you say to your coach, teach me that skill. I want that skill. Because if I have that skill, then on the soccer field, I'm free to do things that I otherwise cannot do. And the person who doesn't get that training, they're limited. to what they can do. So to get this kind of education is to be given a gift. And if you've received that gift or do something, then you should use that gift to feed, serve your friends. And it's a responsibility when you've received a good education. It's a responsibility when you've received these kinds of skills to use these skills in love to serve your neighbor. That's why it's also Christian education, because we use these skills in love. Why are they called, so they're called liberal arts. Why are they called arts? Anybody have a guess? Why would we call these skills like grammar, logic, whatever? Why do we call them arts? Anybody have a guess? Why don't we just call it, why is it a science? Say grammar is a science.
I think maybe because we're creating something with all these skills, we can also that we're creating opportunities with ways we're really creating different words or meanings or phrases that we
Art is something made, and you know this from visual artists, right? Like a painter or a sculptor. You make something, you say, this is my art. This is my artifact. You can see it. It's something that you make. And in Latin, ars means something made. So what do we make with logic? Remember, we talked a little about logic. What do you make with logic? You think, and what do you make with your thinking? What would be the artifact? Like, here's a sculpture that a sculptor makes. You can see it, right? And you can touch it. But what do you make with logic? You create something. And you know what you create with logic?
A correct argument.
Exactly. You make arguments. And maybe they're not like painted, but you can hear them. You become a liberal artist. You're free to make something beautiful and good. And with logic, you make arguments. And with grammar, you make books and poems and speeches and all kinds of things that you can make with writing, reports, essays. What do you make with rhetoric? What do you think? What do you make with rhetoric? Yes, a very good way of speaking. And we could call that, you could make a speech with rhetoric. You could make a sermon with rhetoric. ¿Sí? ¿Una pregunta? Any? Okay. So, in summary, I've talked to you about 3 liberal arts. The artes liberales verbales, the verbal arts of grammar, logic, and rhetoric. Do you know why it's good to study them? Apart from what these two have said? Because you have been made in the image of God. You are a human being. Now, I have a dog. My dog cannot speak. My dog cannot count. My dog cannot write poetry. My dog does not give speeches. He doesn't make arguments, at least not very good arguments, because he's not a human. But you've been, and he has not been made, even though I love my dog, he's not been made in the image and likeness of God. God speaks, right? He speaks. And he's given us the gift of speech so that we can hear la palabra de Dios and we can speak words after him. And so even when Adam was created, you see him speaking, right? He had language and he had to give a name to all of the animals. And so when he saw the elephant, he had to give it a name, right? So he's already using words. So, and then we have the scriptura. We have la scriptura, la palabras de Dios. We have Christos, la verbo Deo, the word of God. We are a people of the book, so we love language. And so when you use language well, you are fulfilling your creation. You're acting like you're being human. So there's a little poem that says, the frog says, Lord, you made me to jump, and how I love to jump. Right? And I would say of my dog probably would say, Lord, you made me to hunt, and how I love to hunt, because my dog is a hunting dog. He's always chasing squirrels and birds and things. He loves to do this more than anything else. That's all he wants to do, is hunt. God made him to hunt. You were made, among other things, to speak and to reason, because you were given a mind. And so you should be able to say, if you've been given these skills, you should be able to say, Lord, you made me to reason, and how I love to reason. You made me to speak, and how I love to speak well. You made me to use language, and how I love to use language. So you're learning English, and some of you are a little bit shy to use your English with a native speaker like me, just like I'm very shy to use my Spanish with a native speaker like you. So, hablo español muy mal, hablo italiano más muy mal, I speak a little bit. But don't you feel joy when you can speak in another language? When you understand something for the first time and you say to yourself, I see it now. Now I understand. You feel joy. We feel joy when we use words well. Okay, so now I have to kind of summarize something quickly. Those were the 3 liberal arts of language. In the classical tradition, there are 4 liberal arts of number. Because humans also use numbers. My dog does not count. My dog does not do long division. My dog certainly doesn't do algebra or calculus. But we can. Sí, una cuestión. Bene, grazie. Bien, gracias. Okay, so the mathematical arts were arithmetic, geometry, astronomy, and music. Because not only do we use numbers to think and reason, we also use, words, we also use numbers. We weigh things, we measure things to see their velocity, their acceleration, their magnitude, and their weight. And we use mathematics to do this. And mathematics also will bring you joy. And mathematics is musical. Did you know that? Have you studied music? You've studied the chords and the ratios in music. Have you studied some of that? Some of you have. Mathematica es música también. And I know that you like mathematics. Some of you want to say, well, I'm not a math person. No, I like literature more than math. I'm not a math person. No, es la verdad. Tú es una persona matemática. Because you've got how I like math. Incarnation of mathematics coming into your body and soul. And you love music, because we all love music. Music is mathematics. And you also love mathematics. The only reason you don't like mathematics is when you can't solve a problem. Oh, I'm not a mathematician. Once you are able to see it, so sometimes we learn at different rates. And all of these arts together, arts of words, arts of number, compared to time, you will actually become your own teacher. You graduate from here, perhaps you'll go to the university, but you will become your own student. You will begin to teach yourself, because you will acquire, these arts are like tools of learning. You have the ability to learn anything if you know how to master number and words. You can learn anything. You want to become a computer programmer after college, or you can learn that quickly. You want to start a business, you will learn how to do that quickly. And if you are persuasive and you make good arguments and you reason well and you're clear and you're accurate in what you speak and what you write, you're going to start a great business. No matter what business you choose, or no matter what job you choose. So these liberal arts are given to us to set us free, to serve with excellence and love in any vocation that God gives to us, calls us. This is why we call it classical. Because classical simply means something good from the past that never goes away. It's the best from the past that continues in the present and will continue in the future. Classica significa enduring, permanent, excellence. It's always excellent because it's based on who we are, made in the image of God. Last comment is that books, arts, really access the library, philosophy, science, yourself and know that then you continue to educate. Here in a few minutes for good. Push back a little bit, ask a question, something you don't understand a little bit. What are you curious about? Do you think? Yes, sir.
You say that the classical is something that is good from the past, but sometimes as young people we relate classical with obsolete. And my question is, why we should choose the classical education when we live in a world that is in a constant change?
Okay, excellent. Because classical is always present. Classical means something so excellent, it never disappears. It's like water. You always need it. It always gives you life. These are arts. These arts of learning to master words are always human because they are ordered to your human nature. And human nature doesn't change. Your human nature will be the same in 100 years. And in 100 years, people will need to know how to reason well, speak well, interpret well. See? And so it's always going to be relevant. It's not really old. It's not obsolete. It's ever new. It's perennial. Always new. Because human nature does not change. Yeah, question in the back?
What was like your personal motivation to start developing this type of model that we apply now? And as my classmates said, like in this world which technology is developing like so fast. So what would be your motivation, and what would be an advice that would give you to us to use these liberal arts in a good way? Because you said that we have like this type of powers to
Yes.
change people's mind.
Yes.
However, we must use it like correctly and not like try the mind of people towards bad things.
Yeah, to manipulate them. This is why you need to be holy and good and love God. Because if you have skills, but you don't love God and you don't love people, you will use those skills to do. And the very skills you will use that to do wrong. So this is why it's supposed to be classical and Christian. And the love of God. The classical is love. But you understand. I would go find it now. Some other people will do it. But it's because it's truly good. Now modern education to what we used to do. Ways to adapt to how when you look at the internet, when you look at technology today, it can be good if you use it. So if you want to rise by studying the liberal arts and the great books that you could now read and understand, that some people can't even read, and by your study of La Biblia and your own holiness and love of God, so that with your skills, you will not use them to do harm, but you will use them to do good and to build people up. That's all the time we have. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias.